Hi Flosstube, this is Stephanie, the Ivy House Crafter. There's gonna be sun in my eyes. There wasn't a spot that I could set up where I had the right lighting and the right amount of sun. But I really wanted to film outside because it's a nice day and I've been cooped up inside for a really long time. Okay. Let's just jump right into the stitching. I'm gonna try something this time and show pictures of what projects look like last time you saw them. But I don't feel like being all techie about it, so I'll just like show the picture on my phone. So we'll see how that goes. There will be a little bit of life update stuff at the end for those who are interested, and that way if you're just here for the stitching, then you don't have to listen to me talk about stuff that's not stitching related. Okay, so after my last video, I got out, let's see, this was the Cat Sampler by Heartstring Samplery. I apologize, I didn't bring out I do this every week, I can't think of the words. The picture of what it looks like when it's finished, but there's a reason for that and I'll explain more later, but this is where I was at last time. I'm going to be up and down showing so that I can make sure that this shows up properly on the camera. So here is, okay, that's not working. Increase brightness. There we go. That is a picture of what this looked like the last time you saw it. And so I worked on it a lot. I did a lot of filling in. I finished filling in the house. I put in cats. I filled in a lot of the grass, and basically I worked and worked on this piece and could not put it down until finally I had to put it down because I had run out of one color of floss. I didn't have enough of grasshopper. I forget which brand it is. It might be Weeks Dye Works. But I ran out of that one color, and so I had to order some online and wait until it got to me before I was able to continue on stitching. And so at that point, getting up again, this is what it looked like. Let's hope this is focusing. So basically all I had left was filling in the rest of the grass. So that's quite a lot of progress that I put in that period of time. But at that point I had to set the picture aside, set the piece aside and just wait until the floss got there. So after that I was like, well, I've been in the mood for just filling in, sit down, focus on something and work at it and get a lot of progress on it. So I got out a piece that is pretty similar to that and started filling in grass. Let me get out, this one I do have the picture, but this is American Sampler by Plum Street Samplers, and I worked on filling in grass, but for some reason I just didn't get quite as into it as I did with the Cat Sampler. But anyway, this is where this piece is now. So I was just filling in more grass. I put in a few lengths, and I enjoyed it, but I didn't feel like continuing and just plugging away and really getting some major progress like I had with the cat sampler. So after a couple days, I went ahead and put it away and got something else out. But yeah, I really love the way that this is looking, the way it's turning out. I'm sorry, I say a lot. Let's see, this is being stitched 1/2 on 36 count linen that I dyed myself. It was just a tiny dip in some very watered down dark brown. And so it's more off-white than it is any other color. And just using all of the called for colors on that. So couldn't really get into that as much, so I put that away and decided, well, I'll get out something else that I may or may not work on for a really good focus period or not. So I got out, this was a dimensions kit. Again, I didn't bring out what it's gonna look like. But here is where it was the last time you saw it, which was quite a while ago. This was one that I wouldn't always work on very consistently. I would get it out, put in a few lengths, and be done. And I didn't really feel like working on it for long periods of time for some reason. So that's where it was the last time you saw it. And somehow, this one I did end up focusing on a lot and worked at it. Let me do some unrolling of fabrics here, because I made a great deal of progress on it. I finished that sucker! Sorry, it's all rolled up. It's been rolled up for a while. Okay. So clearly I made a lot of progress. I finished filling in all the little random bits that were left in the flowers. I stitched all the background. I added the chair. I did all the back stitching. I did all the French knots, except I replaced them with what's it called? Colonial knots, because they're a little bit neater. And just take in the prettiness. This was the first piece that I started when I first got back into cross-stitching 2 years ago. So I've been working on this a little over 2 years, and it's done. I'm so pleased. I really like how it turned out. It was quite a journey getting here. There's several areas where I made mistakes and just said, you know what, I'm just fudging that, because there's no way I'm going through and finding where those mistakes are and fixing them. So there's areas in here. I think one of the colors I miscounted down here and then brought it all the way up here, and then I just fudged around it. There's some of these flowers are off by 1 stitch, and just little things that are off, but you can't tell, honestly. So, my Mother's Day gift from Jeff was a set of frames, just really pretty picture frames, and they're they're wooden and kind of a rustic look to them. And so one of them I'm going to use to frame this piece. So once I give it a really good wash and press, I'll frame it, and then I can show it FFO'd in my next video. So I worked on that. Yeah, again, I was focused, and I've just been really in the mood to just pick stuff up and just work on it for a really good long time and just get it done. So after I finished this, well, by this time it was May, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do a finish Maynia. for Stitch Mania. Instead of starting a bunch of projects, I'm going to see how many projects I can finish. So the next piece I picked up, by this time I had received my order of flosses from 123 Stitch. I was able to get that green that I needed to finish the cat sampler. And so that was the next piece I picked up, and I don't remember how many days I worked on it, like 2 to 4 days. It was a lot of filling in. But I finished filling in the grass, and here is the cat sampler. And here is the wind blowing it all around. So this is stitched 2/2 on 32 count linen. I believe the color is ice blue. Don't quote me on that. Probably go watch back till like last May when I started it for Maynia, and I probably say what I started, you know, what fabric it is, but it's 32 count, I do know that. And using all the called for colors, except a couple of them I used DMC, which is funny. If I had just waited for the floss to be delivered, I would have remembered that I bought the correct flosses, and I would have been able to use those nice over-dyed flosses instead. But still, I like how it turned out. My favorite cat is this one right here. Let me see if I can get a good zoom in. It's this little guy right here. Hopefully you can see that, because this one looks the most like my cat, Isis. She is a tiger striped tabby, and this floss is one that I had to replace with DMC, and I just blended 2 floss colors together to get that kind of tabby look to the fur. Anyway, really like how this one turned out. On this, I discovered that I really don't mind the sewing method as much as I thought I did. I've always been pretty adamant that, you know, the poke and stab, or whatever you want to call it, method, the one where you just go in and out and in and out, was best for me because I just liked the way the stitches look better. I like the way they lay better. But sewing method is really fast, and so I was able to cover a lot of these large blocks of color, and it really, you can't even tell that the stitches don't look as even and consistent as the stabbing method. So I've been doing sewing method a lot more and really enjoying it. So again, that is the cat sampler by Heartstring Samplery, and that was my finish number 2 for Finish Mania. And I've been rolling these up instead of folding them so that there's no big creases. Oh, I did want to point out one thing. This cat right here, I added a tiny bit of back stitching in the face, just that little nose right there, because I didn't feel like you could see the nose well enough. So I backstitched a tiny bit on the nose, and I think that that really helped that face to just look even more cute. All right. So I still wanted more finishes. So then I was like, well, what else do I have that is close to a finish? I wanted to just, you know, keep my momentum going. So I looked through all my projects, and I found this was a piece from a library book that I checked out. I forget exactly what the book was called, but the piece, it was 4 little birds, and it was called Chirpy Visitors. And so this was one of them. All I had left to do was add the leaves and the back stitching. That's just a cute little piece. And so here's the first of the series that I had stitched, and here is the one that I just finished. So this is Chirpy Visitors number 2 by Maria Diaz, and it's just a sweet little finish, very cute. I want to do the other 2. There were 4 birds altogether, and I still have room on the fabric for the other 2, and then I'll finish them into like cute little pillows. and display them together or something along those lines. I like birds. They're just fun and cute and pretty. I took an ornithology class in college and just really fell in love with birds. They're fun. I got to help to dissect and prep the skeleton of an ostrich. That was fun. I was also first trimester pregnant at the time. So, memories. Anyway, yeah, Chirpy Visitors, Maria Diaz. Finish number 3 of my Finish Maynia. Roll that up. Okay. Then I thought, well, what else do I have that I can work on? And I landed upon Merry and Bright, which is number 2 of the Songbird's Garden series by Cottage Garden Samplings. And here is where I was at the last time you saw this. I know you can see the camera each time I do this, but this is the best way to show where I was. So I had Mary, I had the sleigh, I had this big bunch of leaves and berries and vine, I had the little house and the little bit of a border down on the bottom. So that is where I was at. So I keep putting my phone in my lap and then the sun like shines up straight into my face, reflecting off the screen. Sorry. And here it is where I'm at now, completely finished. So I did the vase and took these berries up here, did this much, and then I came in and put in this adorable chickadee and then finished these berries up on top here. I'm just gonna bring that chickadee in because look at how cute it is. It's like a third the size of my hand. It's adorable. So, Merry and Bright, Songbird's Garden, Cottage Garden Samplings. This was stitched on 36 count Wren. I think it's from Picture This Plus. I forgot to talk about the fabric of Chirpy Visitors. That's just 28 count linen. Carolina linen in the color sand or something like that. It's the Charles Craft that comes in a tube. Anyway, so just love how this turned out. I really enjoy these Songbird's Garden pieces and am looking forward to starting the next one. So this was finish number 4, and by this time I was hankering for a new start. I was like, I have finished 4 pieces in the course of a couple weeks, and I have earned a new start. I considered starting the next in the Songbird's Garden series, but I couldn't decide if I wanted to go in numerical order, and so the next would have been Winter's Wisdom, but I wasn't sure that I really wanted to work on a winter one yet, and so I couldn't decide if I wanted to do that or kind of jump around and pick and choose which one I wanted to do next. So I was like, well, I'll start something else in the meantime. And I landed upon Mr. and Mrs. Abbott and Daughters by Carriage House Samplings. Now this is one that I saw Michelle Rudy Farm Girl do, I believe it was last Maynia, and she stitched them side by side, so the wife and the husband facing each other, and I fell in love with her piece, and as soon as I saw the picture, I went and looked it up and I bought it, and it's been sitting in my stash ever since. So it was time to start it. I am also stitching them side by side together in one piece. It calls for stitching them 1/2 with silk on 40 count linen, and I'm not doing that. I could, but I don't have 40 count linen available, and I wanted to start it with what I had in stash, and so I found this, it's 28 count tea-dyed Monaco, and I had bought a while back a big piece, and I've used it for a whole bunch of different things, and this was like the last chunk of it, except for like a piece that's left that's this big, so I could put something really tiny 1/1 on it. But I have this piece, and so I was able to get that started, and this is, so it's 2/2 on 28 count, and it is shaping up to probably be finish number 5 because I don't want to put it down. I started with the darker blue, and then filled in the light blue, and then this golden brown, and then the darker golden brown. And I'll start filling in all the extra details and stuff. I don't know, just lately I've just really felt like really focusing and sticking with one project at a time. Sometimes I like to jump around and do several projects in a day, and then several more projects another day, and sometimes I just want to just focus on one piece, and I'm in a focus mood. So I will probably finish this by the next video. So you don't get to see this one very frequently. That's okay, I get to see it, and that's what matters. So yeah, it's fun that you can see the outlines of everybody. I am making a few very small changes, especially to Mr. Abbott. I didn't really care for, in the original pattern, he had a slightly bigger belly and a smaller head and like a really tiny neck, and he just looked kind of like a really weird, I don't know, I didn't like the proportions so much, so I shaved I shaved a column off of his belly, and I strengthened his features and thickened his neck a bit, made him a little more manly in my opinion. So hopefully that will turn out really great. And I think that's the only changes I made. Also her arm, I think in the original pattern is really long, so I'm gonna cut one tiny little row off her arm and make it less long and gangly. That's the only changes I'm going to make, and I think that it will look great for me and my personal preferences. So, Mr. and Mrs. Abbott and Daughters, Carriage House Samplings. Okay, and that is my stitching. Okay, so if that's all you're here for, thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great week, month, however long until I see you. My videos have not been super consistent lately. It is what it is. Wind. So for life updates, I shared last video that my grandmother had passed away, and we weren't able to have a real funeral for her because of the social distancing and quarantine and all that. And so what my family did, the funeral home was really generous and able to work with them. So siblings, or my grandmother's children, and any of their spouses that were able to come, they were able to go and have a small viewing / memorial service in my grandmother's home, and they filmed that on Zoom and shared it with me and my cousins and any family that wanted to get on and be able to participate in that way. And so I was able to remotely participate in my grandmother's viewing and graveside service, and that was a really nice experience to be able to be a part of that. I'm sorry, somebody is doing some sort of construction across the street, and I'm sorry, you can probably hear that. Anyway, so that was really nice, and we're still hoping to have a real memorial service after all this is over, and able to meet and gather together again, but in the meantime, it was nice to have that. Let's see. Last time I talked about the earthquake we had and how hard it was going through all the aftershocks and everything. We have had a few more aftershocks, but nothing for quite a while, and it hasn't affected me as badly. I haven't lost my appetite, and I've been able to eat okay, and so I've, just updating on the aftershock situation, and they seem to be pretty much quieted down, and that's nice. Oh, this was a big one. We potty trained our toddler. I figured it was about time. He's 3.5, and he was, he was able to tell us when he needed a diaper change, and I was just really dreading it because the child previous to him, he's 7 years old now, and he took forever to potty train. Accidents every day for a really long time, and it was just a awful experience. And I didn't want to go through that again, and so I was really putting it off and really dreading it. But Matthew has done really, really well. The first handful of days, the first couple days we had him in underwear were intense, and then the next few days were less intense but still frustrating because he was having accidents, and then it clicked, and he's doing great. And it was such a relief that he's potty trained. We have no diapers to clean up, and he goes to the bathroom by himself, and it's nice. It's really nice. Okay. Earlier this month, I got to get out of the house and interact with people. I got to go to the dentist, and it was very exciting. And it's ridiculous that going to the dentist was so exciting, but it was. I was like, oh, what am I gonna wear? I have to do my hair. Oh, I have to make myself a new mask that's gonna be so pretty and match my clothes, and it's kind of sad, but so yeah, I got to get out of the house and have people time. I'm an introvert, and being by myself and at home is like what I do, but even I need a little bit of interaction with people that I'm not directly related to every once in a while, so it was nice to get some. Let's see, we are almost done with our school year. We homeschool. Most people homeschool now, but we did it before it was the thing to do. We've homeschooled for several years now. Let's see. Most of the kids are finished with their coursework, and we're just doing like little things. I'm still having the older kids do math. Actually, after this week, I've told them they don't have to do math anymore. Audrey is catching up on some work that she had been skipping without my knowing it, and so she has to finish that before she can be done. And Philip, we had started him on one level and it was too advanced for him, so we had to start over with the next level down, and so he's still got a ways to go before he finishes, just a couple more weeks and he'll be done. Yeah, but we're wrapping things up and heading into summer, and that's going to be really nice that when we don't have to do schoolwork anymore. Last updatey thing was Mother's Day. I just wanted to share a couple of the gifts that I got. I already told you about the frames. I left them inside. I didn't feel like unwrapping them and taking out the picture that came with it because I don't like the picture that came with it. And anyway, you'll see the frame when I show the FFO of Roses on White Chair. Audrey, my 10-year-old, she gave me a while ago for Christmas. She got a little ring making kit, and so she made me a ring, and she also has like a collection of beads, and she gave me one of her beads, and I put it on a chain. So here it is pink and gold and sparkly and just really pretty. So I'm wearing the bead she gave me. And Zaylee, my 14-year-old, gave me a bouquet, but it's not any bouquet. It's she's really, really creative when it comes to artistic things like writing and drawing and paper crafting. So this is the bouquet that she made me. Look at that. I came out of my room on Mother's Day morning, and this was at my place at the table. So here's kind of a close-up of some of the flowers. Isn't that so pretty and just super creative? Yeah, she has a lot of patience when it comes to special folds and just making pretty things. I've tried to get her into cross-stitching. She has one piece that she's had for a couple years, the same amount of time that I've had Roses on White Chair, and she's put some stitches into it, but not really, it's not really her thing. She'll get it out every once in a while. But yeah, with the things that she really is interested in, the drawing and the folding and paper craft stuff, it's just, she's really good at it. She also has a wicked sense of humor. Yeah, she gave me a New Year's card once, and so the message on the inside said, "Happy Mother's Day, Mom. I hope you don't end up like the girl on the cover of the card." And on the cover of the card, she had drawn a UFO abducting a girl. And so I hope you don't get abducted by aliens, Mom. Happy New Year's. That's her sense of humor. Anyway, that is all that I have. I hope that you are doing well and holding up in this time of uncertainty and social distancing and just everything that's happening. And I hope that you get lots of stitching done and just have a great week or month or however long it is until I see you again. Happy stitching, everybody. Bye.